This is the right one, right? All right, so that's good. All right, help me out now. What number did you want me to go to? I know. When I do that, it just doesn't work out right. Okay, let's start with 6. I was going to have to erase it real quick, so be patient. All right. Did we do number 6 at all?
Yes.
All right, so here we go. Let me talk to you about number 6. All right. Now, number 6 is a fantastic problem. Lots of thought going into this. All right, lots of thought. All right. So now, I want to know, right? I want to know what the 101st term is. I want to know what the 101st term is. Now, again, if you're doing this right here, we would start with -3. Then the next term would be what? 2, and the next one would be?
7.
Yes. And then the next one, and so on. And I could do that 101 times. Actually, I would have to do it how many times? How many? 100, not 101. Why not? Because -3 is the first term. Because -3 is the first term. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
All right, now, if I add 5, listen, this is what your brain is supposed to say now. Here's going to help you with numbers if you're paying attention. Every time I'm going to add what? 5. And I'm going to add 5 how many times? 100 times. That means I've gone how far? That means I've gone 500. Does everybody agree with that? So 500 would be the sum of those. But which one did I start with? I started at -3. So that's why my answer was what? 497. Now listen to me. Listen, I'm going to let you say something. Just 1 minute though. Listen, I need you to tell me if you're not understanding what I'm trying to tell you. I don't want you sitting there going, oh my gosh, I have no idea what he's saying. Right? Because I'm trying to get the numbers to click into your head better. And most of you are very good with numbers. But now I'm trying to show you some things that will make you even better. All right? Now I said something where you're adding 5 100 times, right? So if you add 5 100 times, that means you've moved 500 spaces. Does everybody agree? You've moved 500 spaces from where you started. And where did you start at? You started at -3. So that means you would end at what? 497. Is that clear now? Yeah. Well, kind of subtracting 3, but it's just that you started at -3. So if you start at -3 and add 500, it's clear that you're at 497.
I need another one.
Tell me which way.
So every odd number besides -3 ended in 7.
Oh, that is brilliant.
I did that too.
Very brilliant. Very good. Those are the types of things, listen, where if you listen to people's explanation, I've learned probably more from kids than I learned from college. Because I'm always trying to find the best way to do things. All right? So he said something perfect. If you notice, it had to either end in a 7 or a 2. Right? Very nice. Very good observation. So that's very, very, very good. Very good. All right? And if you notice, the 2s would be in the evens, and the 7 would be in the what? Odds. Very smart. I really like that. All right? That's a great way of thinking about it. All right? Let's go on to the next one. I'm just going to leave the answers up here, and you can kind of just check for now. I didn't do a very good job because I was in a hurry. So I have to go back and fix a few things. But for question number 7, I'm pretty, now I want to talk and make sure everybody remembers mean, median, mode, and range, right? Those are important. It says median, which just basically means it's the number where. Do we know anything about the club at all? No, it could be just an 11-year-old club with only 11-year-olds. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Right? So if that is true, hold up. Let me ask you a follow-up All right, so here we go. Now, so the first question, is the oldest member in the club at least 1 year older than the youngest? Does that make any sense?
No.
That makes no sense. All right? If there's a 10-year-old, there has to be a 12-year-old.
No.
There's no rule that says that. So now, what I want to review also is this technique, guys, is when you know something's not true, I tell kids to cross it out. I knew 1 wasn't true, and if you know 2 isn't true, then you can cross out E. Is everybody with me on that? I think that is a very important technique when you're taking standardized tests, because you don't want to accidentally circle the wrong answer if you have to guess. All right, after you know you've eliminated an option. So now the mode, which is the number that occurs the most, does that have to be 11?
No.
Yeah, so nothing makes sense there except for what? None. All right, now again, if you're looking at that going, I think I understand, but I'm not sure, you can tell me. Everybody's clear on that?
Yep.
Yes, sir. But we don't know. So listen, they all could be 11. You see what I'm saying, right? In your mind here, and that's I think one of the hardest things to teach kids is if you think something is correct, you can't see anything else. You understand what I'm saying? So you had in your mind it had to be 10, 11, 12. You see what I'm saying? But in fact, it could have been what? 11, 11, 11, which changes everything. All right? So you always have to try to look at all the different possibilities. All right? Now, I really want to take a look at this one down here. This one's really important. All right? No, don't tell me that. All right? Everybody should be fine with this. All right? Everybody should be fine with this one. All right? Now, we specifically spent a lot of time dealing with percentages in a chapter in the book, so I was hoping you'd be okay with this. All right? Now, how much is the original price? P, correct? So my advice to you is to go ahead and write down January, February, March, and April. And how much did it cost in January? P. In February, now you got to think, in February it's going to cost you what? Thank you, 0.9P. Now, why is it 0.9? Because you have to normally pay what? 100%, but they're giving you a 10% discount. So you have to take 90% of the original is what you have to pay. So that's why in February you would be paying 0.9P. Does everybody agree with that? Now, in March, do I pay 0.9 of January or do I pay 0.9 of February? 0.9 of February. So then March, you would end up paying 0.81P. Right? Because you're taking what? You're taking 90% of 90%. 9 times 0.9. So now when we look at April, I'm going to multiply March by what? 0.9 again. And 81 times 9 is 0.729P. Correct answer, E. Very, very, very good. And listen, I need you to understand that because there's a lot of percentage problems on the ERBs. Because they know kids aren't very good at percentages. I don't understand why, but that should make perfectly good sense. Anybody have any doubts about that now? All right, yes.
So you multiplied by 0.9 because you were getting 90%.
You're keeping 90% of what you had. You with me? Or you only have to pay for 90% of the cost. All right. Here we go. Now, I think everybody in here is smart enough to do the next one. So hopefully everybody got it right. Look at number 9. Right. Now, let's look and see for those of you guys, because up here now, come on now, you're just, no talking. All right, I don't want to be distracted. All right, so let's look at this real quick. Now, do you agree that if this is negative a, negative b, from here to here is negative a, negative b, and if I just looked at that part, if I had no idea, I would say that they look what? They look the same. Is everybody happy with that? So that should be your best guess right there if you had no idea. All right? But now, what I really want to do is I want to teach you to draw this down and make it a right triangle. Draw it down and make it a right triangle. This is A and this is B. Is everybody with me? And then this is the hypotenuse. And so that was A squared plus B squared equals the hypotenuse squared. Does everybody agree with that? Which is C squared, I know. Is everybody with me?
Yeah.
Now, here's the important part. Please look. What is this distance right here? Negative A. And the other distance is what? Negative B. And when I do the Pythagorean theorem there, does everybody see when I square negative A, it becomes what? A squared. And if I square negative B, it becomes B squared. Does that help you now? Whoever said they weren't sure about that, Bridget? All right. So the answer was C. Everybody happy with that? All right. Let's take a look at the next one. I thought number 10 was kind of easy for you guys. So is everybody okay with 10 being B? Everybody okay with 10 being B?
Let me just make something like clear in my brain. Because it would be 2 for A and like 4, 8, 16 for B, the quantity of the 4, 8, 16 is bigger than a 2.
The number, there's one number here, and there are 3 numbers here.
Oh.
Therefore, it's B.
Okay.
You with me?
Yes. So it's not like the value.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It doesn't matter, actually, because it works either way. But listen to me. You have a very good question. So the number above, that is the sum. So you're saying this is 2, right? The answer is 2. I was thinking more in terms of how many there are, but I think you're actually right, because the answer could be either 4, 8, or 16 here. But regardless of which one I pick, it's still bigger than the 2. That was very, very good. Very good, actually. Very important. All right, I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. A lot of the ERB, it's not that you don't know, it's you make a mistake in the reading. I think I made a mistake when I read that. I was counting, there was only one number up here that satisfied that, and there were what? 3 numbers over there, so I said it was B. But in fact, that's not. After I reread it and she brought it to my attention, it's the fact that the possible numbers over here are 4, 8, and 16. And over here, the only possible number is what? 2. So every number in the B column is going to be is greater regardless. Very, very good. Very good. Quickly.
I think number 9.
Okay, thank you.
As in, like, so you can see the values are A and B, and the other values are negative A and negative B, not negative 2A and negative 2B, so they're the same value, the same length.
That's exactly right. And distance can't be what? Negative. Does everybody hear me on that? That's the big thing. All right? All right, I'm happy with you guys. All right, let's go to the next set.
Will we allow these calculators?
I don't really want you using calculators, no. All right? Everybody look at set 2. Everybody okay with that? All right, here we go. Number 1. Here we go. Number 1. Now look, it's simply asking, what to what power is 16? What to what power is 16? Now, look at the explanation up here because I think it should help you. We can say 4 squared is 16. We can say negative 4 squared is 16. We can say 2 to the 4th is 16. There's lots of options for that. Is everybody with me? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. So what am I trying to tell you? If you only thought of 4, 2, you would get the problem wrong. Is everybody agreeing with me? Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
So now I know just by looking at my examples that I wrote down that the answer is what? D. Is everybody okay with that being D now?
Yes.
Any questions? All right, but a lot of people made mistake because they just looked at 2 to the 4th. Right? You could also do 16 to the 1st. All right? So be careful with that. All right? Give yourself a nice check if you got that right. That's a good thinking question. All right, now I want to check out question number 2. Number 2 is a nice problem too. And I think these are the hardest for me. All right? Where you're doing the inequalities. All right? So I want everybody to see what I did. Now, does everybody see my highlighted up here? I'm going to re-highlight. Does everybody see this up here? Does everybody agree? All I did was I moved the x over, right? So I can see that y is less than or equal to 7 minus x. Do you agree? Now, does everybody agree in this part right here? X is less than or equal to 5. So in my mind, what I did was I tried to make a table. I tried to make a table that would represent some values. So I said the largest x could be was what? 5. So I put a 5. And then what did I do? I plugged 5 in for x. And if x is 5, y could be what? Less than or equal to what? So look right here. So I just put all those numbers in. Is everybody good with that? Now, I knew that wasn't going to give me the answer because it looks like x is always greater than y. So I wanted to create another example. So I put x equals 4 down. If I plug 4 in for x, that means y has to be less than or equal to what? 3. Is everybody with me? So now it could be 3, 2, 1, and so on. Now, what I want to try to show you now, very good. Look at my options. As x is going down, y is going what? Yay, y is going up. So if you look at 3, if I plug 3 in for x, then the y can start out with what? 4, 3, 2. Is everybody with me on this? So can everybody now see the relationship that there really isn't x always is greater than y or y is always greater than x? Can everybody see that? All right. And again, I think when you're dealing with inequalities, it's better, in my opinion, to graph it out so you can visualize things better. There's no way, as good as I am with numbers, I just can't look at that right there. And some of you might be able to do that because your brain works differently. You might be able to look at that and say, obviously, there's no relationship. All right? Some people can do that. But for me, I have to see everything worked out. All right? That's why I know the answer had to be what? D. Is everybody good with that? All right, let's look at the next question. Ooh, the next one is a really good problem. All right? Good. All right? Now, again, number 3 is very, very, very good problem also. 3 is a very good problem, so I want to talk about this real quick. And I especially like question number 4, so please listen. All right? It says, the sum of the negative of t, so I have to write down negative t, sum means to do what? Plus s squared is less than 2. Does everybody agree with that? All right. Everybody good with that so far? Now I looked at my columns for A and B. Look right here. And look right here. Does everybody see that? So there's a relationship between there. But I don't have the relationship over here that matches this over here, right? So I'm going to pick up this and move it to the other side. Does everybody agree with that? So that means s squared is less than, look at that. So that means t plus 2 is greater. Very good. Very good. Yes, sir. You can definitely plug in numbers. All right? But I think you guys should be smart enough to do it just like
The
that.
sign only turns when you divide.
Yes, very good review question. Listen, whenever you multiply or divide by a negative, the inequality sign changes. Not when you add or subtract. Very good question. All right. Now, number 4 is a really fun problem. So I want to show you this one too. And I'll be pretty impressed if you're able to see this. All right. Now, again, not many kids can figure this out. Not many kids can figure this out. So let's see what you got. All right. Now, again, we haven't done trigonometry, which will be coming next year. So if we had trig, I would show you how to easily do this. But this is something intuitively you can figure out. So please look up. Look up. All right. I know that the area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 base times height. Is everybody agreeing with me? Right? So I know it says that A equals 1/2. What's the base? 6. Now, of course, I'm missing the height. So because you're smart, I'm sure everyone took the time to draw in the height. Here is the height. Hold on. Just be quiet so I can get through the problem. You should have drawn in the height. Now, when you draw the height, it creates a perpendicular. Hold up, hold up. And because it's perpendicular, what does anybody tell me what 4 represents? 4 represents the hypotenuse. Now, the hypotenuse is always what? It's always the largest side. Does everybody agree with me? So I don't know what the height is. Listen to me now. Here's the thing that's going to make you smart. I don't know what the height is, but I know the height is less than what? I know it's less than 4. How do I know it's less than 4? Because the hypotenuse is 4. The leg must be smaller than the hypotenuse. Is everybody hearing me? So now what? So I'm just going to say I'm going to let the height be 4, but I know it's actually a little bit less than 4. So watch when I plug 4 in. When I plug 4 in for the height, that gives me an area of what? 12, but I know because the height is a little less than 4, that means the area is going to be less than 12. All right, listen to what I just said. That's super important. Because the height was less than 4, that means the area has to be less than 12. So in this particular case, the answer was B.
I got it right,
That
but
was
I did it
very,
completely
very good.
differently, and I did it
Very
completely
good. Okay?
wrong. I did it.
That's what's going to happen every once in a while. There's only 4 choices. Every 4 questions, you're going to get 1 right. Okay?
Is it possible to find the area with the
No. You have to
with
learn.
the degree
You have to learn trig.
Yeah.
All right, I'll show you. All right, but right now we can't. We can't. All right. So here we go. Next. Now everybody got. I'm sure everybody got 5 right.
I got D.
Come on. I don't know how you miss it. Stop acting that way. Look up. There's only one possible answer. There's only one possible answer. T has to be somewhere on the arc. Come on now. It's not funny. This is not that difficult. T has to be somewhere on the arc. So I am moving T around the arc somewhere. I'm moving T around the arc. If I put T really close to S and travel to T, it's still going to be greater than what? 3. Is everybody with me? Right? And if I put T all the way down here, I have to first walk 4 before I can get to T. Does everybody get that now? All right? So clearly, A is greater. All right?
I did something really weird involving
There's no reason to do that. You with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Here we go. All right, let me get this because I want to see who got this right too. This is a pretty good deal. Yes, it was pretty easy. All right. Number 6. All right, here we go for number 6. All right, the triangle above x and y are integers. And what does that mean?
Counting number.
They're in between what two numbers?
35 and 40.
So y could be what?
36.
36, 37, 38, or 39. Somebody agree with that? Right, how many degrees in a triangle? Some of the angles.
180.
Some of the angles add up to 180. So if y is 36, how many y's are in the triangle? 2. That means 72, 74, 76, and 78. Those would be the 2 y's. Is everybody with me? So the third angle has to be 180 minus that. Does everybody agree? So that would be, it could be 108, 106, 104, 102. Those were your options.
Agree.
All right? Is everybody good with that? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions?
Would we add it to grades?
No. What?
So if this was an actual SAT question we were taking a test, we would have like 4 different multiple
No, you're not listening. One of those 4 is the answer. You don't have to write them all. I just knew if I didn't write all 4 of them, somebody would say, I got 104, I got 106, I'm trying to tell you they're all correct.
Oh.
You're never gonna bubble in multiple answers. All right? Those are your choice. You would either bubble in 106, 108, 104, or 102, and you would be correct. All right? Number 7, I think you guys are good with gears.
Yes.
Yes. We got 12.
So everybody agree?
That's 3.
Now listen. Let me try to explain this to you, just to make sure. Hold up. All right. Let me see what you have here. Does everybody understand that the gears, when they rotate, they're in a 1-to-1 correspondence, correct?
Yes.
Right. That's pretty easy. So does everybody understand it's kind of a proportion here? Right. What that means, what I'm trying to tell you is, if gear B makes 9 complete rotations or revolutions, gear B would go through, let me just erase this real quick. Gear B would go through 9 times 48 teeth. Does everybody agree with that? Does everybody agree with that? So that was how much? So that means he went through 432 teeth. Does everybody agree? So that means that the other gear has to go through what? 432 teeth. Do we agree? And each time it goes around, it has how many teeth? 72. So it's just 432 divided by 72, which is 6. And again, there are multiple ways of doing that. Multiple ways, I promise you. All right? Those of you guys that did a little bit differently, we don't need to go through all the possible ways because there is more ways. All right? Now, number 8, I'm going to be mad if you missed this one.
What?
The sum of 2 numbers is 2. So x plus y is 2. The difference is what? 1. Everybody agree? So x minus y is 1. Everybody with me on this? Now to solve that, you just add the equations. I'm not sure. Why are you guys saying what? How are you saying what when I'm asking you to solve x plus y equals 2 and x minus y equals 1? Why is that a problem? No. What is the problem? I don't care what you thought. Well, how are you getting something different than 2x equals 3? We spent a month on this. That's why we're reviewing. But listen to me. Look up there on the board, though. The main thing I'm frustrated at is look up on the board and don't act like it's a mystery. I went from here. This is why I'm trying to help some of you. I went from here to here, and I got to here, and some of you are like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? That just means you're not even looking up there at the board. Because what happens to y minus y? What's 2 plus 1? What's x plus x? I don't know what you're saying, oh my gosh, about. that make sense, girls? What I just said?
Yeah.
You're adding them. Try not to jump to, oh my gosh, but look at what I did to see if you can figure out how I got that. What?
It says product. Isn't product?
Very good. Product means multiplication. Now what am I supposed to do with that information? I haven't given you an answer yet.
Oh, it's not.
I haven't given you an answer yet. I just said x is equal to what? X is equal to what? Does anybody have a problem with x being 3 over 2? Are we happy with that? So if x is 3 over 2, and when I add x plus y together, it equals 2, what does y have to equal? Very good, 1/2. Now I would get it wrong unless I did what, Walker?
Unless
You have to multiply them together. When I multiply them together, I get what?
you get
3 over what?
oh yeah, yes.
That's all right. 3 over 4. Everybody with me on that? Everybody see that, right? Come on. You're multiplying the two answers together.
I see it.
What?
When you do that, can you plug them in? X equals 2 minus y.
Yeah, you can do it that way. You can do it that way. But you see how nice it was just to add them straight down because one cancels already.
We did this one. We did like this substitution.
Very good. Very good. All right. So now I got problems here. All right. The next one's kind of hard. How much time do we have? 10 minutes? Okay, perfect. We're doing good. All right, so here I have this. I'm going to rewrite this down here. 27 to the 15th equals 3 to the y. I wouldn't really expect you to know how to do this, so just try to learn something today. All right? I can't really make a comparison because I don't have the same base. Listen to me, please. All right, in order to make a comparison, I have to have the same base. So 3 is not the same as what? 27. But now I want you to look up on the board and see if you hear me. If I said 2 to the x equals 2 to the 10th, what does x equal? That's obvious, right? Because 2 to the 10th equals 2 to the 10th. If I said 4 to the x equals 2 to the 10th, now do I know the answer? No, because they're different bases. I can't just say 10 because 4 to the 10th is obviously not the same as 2 to the 10th. Do I agree with that? So what the mystery is I have to convert the bases so they're the same. So 27 converts to 3 to what power? 3 to the 3rd. Come on. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Does everybody agree with that? So 27 is 3 to the 3rd. Now, does everybody see that? I just changed 27 to what? 3 to the 3rd. Now, I have here a power to a power. Power to power. What do I do?
No,
No.
because it's the parentheses.
Multiply. Thank you very much. So that would be 3 to the what? 3 to the 45th equals 3 to the y. So y is 45.
Okay, Cameron, all yours.
So y is 45. Is everybody okay with that? Again, that put a little star by that one. That one's really hard. All right, that's more of an algebra 2 type of equation, but that's something you guys can handle. All right. All right. Now let's look at the next one. All right. Then we call it a day. All right. If the perimeter of a rectangle is 10 times the width of the rectangle, then the length of the rectangle is how many times the width? Wow. It's a fun one. All right. So what I want to do here is, just for my own sake, I'm going to just draw it out just so I can see it better. All right. Now, it says the perimeter of a rectangle is 10 times the width. So everybody agree with that? So now I want to know the length of the rectangle is how many times the width. So what's the formula for perimeter again? Does everybody agree with that? Perimeter is 2L plus 2W, right? And right now, what is the perimeter? Well, I don't even need a picture for this. What is the perimeter again? So wherever I see a P, I can put what? So 10W equals 2L plus 2W, agreed? So 8W is equal to 2L, so L is equal to 4 times W. The length of the rectangle is how many times the width? Isn't that nice, guys? Very nice. Very nice problem. 4 times. Yes, sir.
I know I keep saying I did another way, but I did as well.
Perfect. All right. Did you get the right answer?
Yeah.
All right, so we're good shape. Yes.
I understand this. I just always have trouble like on all of this, like knowing what to do at the beginning, and I always know like once I figure out like how to get started.
So all I'm telling you, listen to me. It is nothing but experience. Right? The only way you get better at thinking is by what? Thinking it through. I'm not trying to be funny. Right? It's that's the way it is. This is the hardest part of math. Anybody can remember algorithms and say, here's how you solve this. Not many people can put all the information that they know together to answer questions. And the only way you get better at it is practicing. That's why I'm saying I can't help you in this area other than present material. Right? If you are not trying them on your own, then you're not improving. Even if you just read it and say, I have no idea what to do. Or you read it and you write something. Look, I drew a rectangle for no reason. Because I thought I needed the rectangle. Right? There's just no way to just do it. All right? That's what's frustrating about for kids. All right? But guess what? They pay you to think, not to be a robot. Right? So that's why these are super important. So tonight, I want you working on set what? 3 and 4.
I just want to tell you that I went to check, but you didn't. You said it, but you didn't send 3. Yeah, there's no attached to it. So you didn't attach that.
All right, let me do it real quick. Thank you, guys.